So what if I told you that the real secret to building a powerful vocabulary isn't hidden in some dusty textbook, but at a crime scene? Yeah, forget boring flashcards. Today we are putting on our detective hats to solve a murder mystery. And along the way, we're going to uncover a pretty brilliant method for making new words stick.
And just like that, a fancy party turns into a crime scene. You gotta understand, in a mystery like this, every single word is a potential clue.
All right, let's set the scene. Picture this. It's a frigid December night, super cold, and outside the mayor's banquet hall, there's a protest raging. So you can just feel the tension in the air, right? Both inside the party and out on the streets.
But once you step inside, it's like a different world. The mayor, who the story describes as keen, sharp, really smart, is trying to keep this party going. He's surrounded by all the important inhabitants of the town. But something's a little off. One of the guests, a Mr. Sterling, who's usually the life of the party, is being really dull and quiet. See? Our first clues are already starting to surface.
And then, things escalate. Fast. You got the sound of protest slogans from outside. Then, crash. A temp employee drops the tray of glasses. It causes a bit of a fuss, but it shatters the calm. And then you hear it, the scream. A corpse has been found. And to top it all off, the detective finally arrives, and he's got this incredibly severe look on his face. Yeah, the party is officially over.
Okay, so meet our first suspect, a young guy named Jack, described as gallant, brave, chivalrous. He immediately swears an oath that he's innocent. So what's his excuse for being there? He says he only came to woo the mayor's daughter. Is he a lover or is he a liar? With that accusation hanging in the air, the whole room just explodes. Now, the source material uses some fantastic, maybe a little old-fashioned words here. It says a bobbery of accusations breaks out. Just a loud, noisy disturbance. A brawl almost starts with another guest, who's described as wanton or just totally reckless. The whole situation is just an unbearable pother, a complete and utter commotion.
So let's recap. We've got a body, a room full of suspects, and total chaos. But the whodunit isn't the only puzzle we have to solve here. The real mystery, the one we're trying to crack, is actually hidden in plain sight, in the very words used to tell this story.
And now, we move on to the investigation. You see, the key to solving this crime, and to mastering all this new vocabulary, it isn't about memorizing definitions. No, it's about decoding the clues. Think about it. A good detective never just looks at evidence in one big pile. They sort it, they categorize it, they look for patterns. And that is exactly what we're going to do with our new words. This technique is called grouping, or sometimes chunking, and it's how we're going to crack this case wide open.
Okay, check this out. This is how we organize all that chaos. We have the tumult and the hubbub from the protest, then the jangle of breaking glass, that little fuss over the dropped tray, and the near brawl. Do you see how they all work together? They paint this picture of escalating disorder. They're not just random words anymore. They're pieces of evidence that tell a story.
Next up, let's look at the people involved, the suspects and the key players. The words used to describe them are so important. The mayor is keen. Mr. Sterling is usually jocose, witty and funny. Jack is gallant. The other guest is wanton, and the detective is severe. These aren't just adjectives. They are genuine clues to each person's character, their mood, and maybe even their motive.
And finally, we have the atmosphere. Words like frigid, dismal, and sinister create this dark, mysterious tone right from the get-go. The detective suspects someone is trying to conceal the truth, and then this woman wearing a veil shows up. Talk about adding to the intrigue. This group of words literally builds the world our mystery takes place in.
Okay, so we've sorted our clues, we've grouped them together. But here comes the twist. The real mystery here wasn't about who committed the murder. It was always about revealing the method, the detective's toolkit for mastering language. The source material lays out this fantastic 4-step method. We've actually already used step 2, grouping, so now let's break down the other 3, because this right here is the real secret to making these words stick around for good.
Step 1 is the big one, contextualization. Our brains are wired for stories, not for random isolated facts. You have to connect a new word to a situation, a feeling, or a person. And that murder mystery we just walked through, well, that is contextualization.
This is a perfect example. You're much more likely to remember the word gallant now because you can actually picture Jack, right? The brave but reckless young guy defending himself. You've anchored the word to an image and a character. It's not just a definition anymore.
Step 3 is active recall. You can't just passively read a list of words. That doesn't work. You have to actively test your brain. For example, with this slide, you could cover up the English word on the right and try to remember it just from the clue on the left. It's like a detective reviewing case files, forcing their memory to work. That little bit of struggle is what builds strong connections in your brain. And the final tool in our kit is the synonym swap. This is how you really start using these words in your own life. So instead of saying, "it was very cold," you upgrade to, "it was frigid." Instead of saying, "he's funny," you try, "he's jocose." It feels like a little game, but it actively pulls that new vocabulary into your everyday speech. So the case is solved, and the method has been revealed. Now it's time for the verdict. And the verdict is this: you now have everything you need to go out and crack your own vocabulary cases. But wait, one last crucial tip from the Detective's Handbook. Not all clues are created equal. Some words like bobbery and pother are interesting, for sure, but they're pretty rare. A smart detective knows which leads to follow. You have to focus your energy on the words that you'll actually get to use.
So the whole point is to prioritize. Words like the ones you see here: protest, employee, severe, voluntary. These are high-frequency, super useful words. These are the clues that are going to solve the most cases for you in your everyday conversations.
And get this, believe it or not, in the course of solving just one little mystery, you have been exposed to 38 new English words. And not by staring at some boring list, but by living inside a story. That is the power of this method.
The story ends with this perfect line: "A judicious mind is better than a violent fist." Basically, a wise, sensible approach is always more powerful than just brute force. That's true for solving crimes, and it is absolutely true for learning. A smart method beats mindless memorization every single time. We've unpacked the mystery, we have revealed the method, and now you have the tools. You're not just a learner anymore, you're a language detective. So, the only question left is, what vocabulary case are you going to crack next?